Allison was returning home after working a hard shift. Today she had cleaned all the silverware and tidied up the mantelpiece. She had asked the manager of cleaning firm to send at least one colleague to help her, but her boss rejected the request sharply and unceremoniously. "You work for a few weeks, and you already have a complaint. There's a line for your place, by the way." And Allison had to work on her own. The house the agency sent her to was huge. The owners, the spouses William and Sophia Zaretsky, were wealthy people. William was engaged in business, disappearing all day and night, and Sophia led a social life. They were not bad or evil people. They did not jerk the young maid about trifles, did not make exorbitant demands, just did not pay attention to Allison. Service personnel for gentlemen of this sort, like housekeeping technicians, with vacuum cleaners and washing machines, no one particularly flaunted. It's the same here. The housekeeper gave the orders, and the workers began to implement them. If they didn't get the job done, they didn't get paid, and that was it. Allison was washing and scrapping, wondering why people needed so many dishes. There are only 3 people in the family, and the utensils are enough for a royal court. At that very moment, Adam, the businessman's son, came into the dining room. "Oh, what a cute dishwasher." Allison politely said hello. Adam sat down on a chair and started chewing on an apple. He chewed silently and stared at the girl. "Hey, dishwasher, do you hear?" The mayor threw a stump right in Allison's face. She looked up at Adam. Everything was boiling inside. She wanted to slap the cheeky bastard in the face and bring him to his senses, but Allison found the strength to remain silent. Adam got up from his chair and walked over to the girl. "Well, baby, let's see how you do," muttered Zaretsky and grabbed Allison by the waist. At this point, governess could not stand it. Slapped Adam on the cheek. He recoiled and, rubbing his flushed cheekbone, hissed, "Okay, bitch, we'll see who's who," and left the dining room. Allison continued to work. Her hands were shaking. This is just unbearable. No, she would not keep quiet. Tonight, she would tell Lime everything. They had taken out a loan together, but she had to pay it off alone. If she didn't want to work, she should have dealt with the problems herself. She would have had a manly conversation with the owner's son at least. Allison had been living with Lime for a year. They met, went on a couple of dates, and decided to stay together. Who needed all these procedures? They're grown-ups. No moms or dads. Allison was an orphan. Her father, a criminal, a repeat offender, went to jail for the second time, leaving his wife and daughter to fend for themselves. Allison's mother, always working 3 jobs for a penny, ended up catching severe pneumonia somewhere. She did not go to hospital, not wanting to leave her little daughter alone. Allison was about to turn 6. The girl dreamed of going to the circus. Her mother promised on her birthday to make Allison's dreams come true. She failed to keep her promise and died. The orphaned girl was sent to an orphanage. She hoped that her father would someday return from prison and take her in. It didn't happen. Her father died of neglected tuberculosis. By the time she was 18, Allison had received an apartment from the government and a job as a house painter. While working in a brigade, she met Liam, also an orphan, an electrician, and so they began life together. Liam soon quit his job at construction firm. He needed a car to earn money as a cab driver. They took out a loan for Allison. There was a catastrophic shortage of money. She had to get a job at a cleaning agency. She had to work under difficult conditions. Clients were picking on her, even for minor things. It saddened Allison that Liam did not help her at all. He said that he drove clients, but did not bring his salary. A lot of expenses. The young man excused himself. Gasoline, spare parts. And then, "I'm saving up for our wedding, honey." The girl believed, and did not believe. The situation that occurred in Zaretsky's house was the last straw in the cup of Allison's patience. She decided to have a serious conversation. Either Liam helps, or... Allison walked to the door of her apartment. Loud music was playing. Liam did not meet, did not take the heavy bags out of her hands. Allison, annoyed, went into the room and saw a disgusting scene. 2 people were lying on a couch, an unfamiliar girl and her lover. They were so engrossed in each other that they did not notice Allison. On a table next to each other, there was expensive champagne, chocolate, fruit, something that Liam never bought Allison, citing savings, but for the other one, he did not skimp. Alina screamed obviously herself. Get out! Get out!" I don't want to see you here. The maiden, frightenedly, pulled the sheet over herself. Liam tried to babble something to justify himself. Allison did not listen to him. Opening the window, she threw things out. Pants, t-shirts, shirts flitted beautifully, clinging to the branches of a large tree by the house. Granny, sitting on the bench near the entrance, watched with interest the free show. "Fool, calm down," yelled Liam. "Big deal, an orphanage princess. A bundle like you for a nickel, and even on a market day." Allison looked at him and turned away. She was silent. Liam stayed quietly slipped through the door, and he, the beloved, the only one, who turned out to be a common rascal and cheater, proudly went out, slamming the door loudly. Allison was left alone. There were no tears, only tiredness and terrible weakness in her legs. The girl curled up on a chair in a ball and sat like that all night, without moving or changing her posture. In the morning, she had to go to work, and again, the Zaretsky mansion. "Sophia wished to hire you permanently," said the boss. "She took into account the excellent recommendations that we gave you and was very pleased." Allison again found herself in the hated house. The housekeeper, Lily, made a dissatisfied grimace. "What's wrong with your face? Why are your eyes puffy? Have you been drinking?" "No, I'm not. There was just a little trouble yesterday. In the family. The host's baby are not interested in what goes on in your family," said Lily. "There's a dinner party coming up, and they've invited distinguished guests. They won't like to see the servants' faces blushed. Wash your face at once." The day was filled with worry and concern. Allison was flying up and down the stairs at lightning speed, with piles of starched tablecloths, or with piles of towels, or with dishes. To be bored in this house was not necessary, and the girl was glad to be distracted from unhappy thoughts. And nasty Adam was not in sight today. She arranged vases of fresh flowers in the hall, living room, and dining room. The housekeeper even complimented the girl on her expertly choosing bouquets. Alice, encouraged by the praise, began to clean the drapes and did not notice how Adam quietly crept up on her. The owner's son grabbed the girl, but she began to pull away. "Hush, hush," Adam whispered. "What? Are you playing hard to get?" Allison blushed. "I beg you, stop pestering me. Otherwise, I will complain to your parents." "Ah, you scared me. Do you really think that my mother, a famous socialite, will listen to your complaints? Or do you hope that my father will stop his business, negotiations, and mistresses for you? Don't be ridiculous. By the way, thank me for sending you here myself. The good money baited, not squeamish, eh?" Allison was shaken with disgust. "Don't shudder. I said, either you sleep with me, or you can get out of here on all sides. No money, no references. So you're just a queen. You miserable washerwoman," said Adam contemptuously, and went away, whistling a cheerful tune. The girl cried, leaning her forehead against the wall. What a humiliation. God. Why? She was just trying to preserve her dignity, and in return, she heard vicious phrases: orphanage princess, pathetic broom woman. And from whom? From a man who had achieved nothing in his life. Lowlifes, scoundrels and liars. Allison knew she couldn't leave. They promised money, and indeed, very decent. 3 months to live quietly. In the case of a breach of contract, they did not usually pay wages. She had to put up with all this hell and see if Adam would go anywhere. Almost all rich kids often went away to fancy resorts, and this majorette was no exception, was he? Grudgingly, Allison stayed at the Zaretsky's mansion. Fortunately, Adam, indeed, was absent for quite a long time. Allison, hoping that she still managed to work for a month, and then persuade the leadership not to send her to this address. The girl cheered up, but it was too early to rejoice. One evening, Adam returned. He was very drunk. Allison was tidying up his room at the time. Opening the door wide, Zaretsky smiled crookedly. "What? Did you take my advice? Anybody will bend for money. I know that much. You're just as corrupt as the rest of them." He grabbed the girl and threw her on the sofa. Allison fiercely resisted, throwing Adam away from her. She ran away from the room. Zaretsky rushed after her. He caught up with Allison and pushed her into the closet. The drunken scoundrel was already tearing at the poor girl's blouse when she, in despair, grabbed some heavy object on the shelf. It was a bronze statuette. The girl swung as hard as she could and struck her rapist on the head. Adam's grip loosened, and he settled to the floor with a groan. Allison rushed outside. She did not remember how she got home. Allison was amazed to see her reflection in the mirror. A disheveled girl in a torn blouse, a bronze statuette in her hand. Allison laughed. She must have been hysterical. She had run through the streets of the city with a scarecrow like that, and with that bronze thing in her hand. She accidentally stole it, and, well, let it remain as a trophy of war. At the agency, Allison wrote a wolf ticket and put her data in the blacklist. "Well, I do not work as maid anymore," she said cheerfully. But there was no money, and she had to live on something. Allison decided to sell the statue, at least a little money for it, as a compensation for the suffering. At the antique shop, the girl looked around timidly. She had never been in such establishments, and did not know how to behave. Behind the counter, Allison saw an older man. "Hello? I would like to know the price of this thing." She unwrapped the package and put a bronze figure in the front of the man. The old man straightened his pince-nez, took out his magnifying glass, and examined the statuette. He scrutinized the bronze figure meticulously, while frowning his bushy eyebrows. Allison was worried. It could well be that the statuette is a cheap handicraft, of which there are many in souvenir stores. Antiquarian went into the back room and returned, taking with him a larger magnifying glass. "Where did you get this?" The appraiser expectantly looked at the girl. Allison was confused. To say that this thing, she hit the rapist and then accidentally took the statue with her? "I found it in trash. There's a garbage dump outside my house, and I was rushing to catch the bus, and I saw it lying there. I took and washed it, and I thought..." "Young lady, are you sure it's customary to throw things like this in the garbage?" Allison didn't know what to say. She blushed to the tips of her ears. There was an unpleasant pause in the shop. The girl was about to take the statuette when men in plain clothes entered the store. The old man, it turns out, had had time to call the police. Allison was detained on suspicion of theft. This statuette was not a simple bronze piece, and part of priceless collection of very well-known antiquarian that was wanted for more than a year. The girl told the investigator the whole truth, and amazingly, they believed her. At the interrogation, Adam, pinned down by the circumstances, didn't take long to deny it. He confessed that he had won the item at cards from his friend. The friend was a bandit who had committed a robbery and then sold the collection to criminals. There was a bronze statuette left, which was given to Adam in payment of the card debt. The rapist was angry. His parents found out about everything. The father was furious. Such a respectable family was involved in a high-profile case. It was a scandal. The father had to leave the country as soon as possible, until the passions had cooled down. Sophia Zaretsky sobbed in her boudoir, and William gritted his teeth, blocking his favorite son's accounts. But what happened next threw the Zaretsky's in state of shock. Adam was accused of attempted rape, which he did not tell his own father. To hush up the case quietly failed. Statue solemnly handed over to the owners. Unfortunately, the old antiquarian died of a heart attack when he learned that his priceless collection, treasured by several generations, was unscrupulously stolen. So, the family heirloom was given to his son. At the celebration were invited journalists, television workers, well-known cultural figures, and of course, Allison. The son of antiquarian shook her hand and thanked. The girl really liked this handsome young man. Allison received a handsome cash reward. She was going to use the money to pay off all her debts, take a vacation at the sea, and finally renovate her apartment. A week later, at the very moment when the girl was tearing down sheet after sheet of old wallpaper and sneezing dust, the phone rang. An unfamiliar voice on the phone asked, "Allison, hello? I'm Andrew, the son of antiquarian. I'm Andrew, the son of the antiquarian. Good afternoon. Is something wrong? The thing is... damn. I have no idea how to take care of pretty girls." Allison blushed. "It's good that handsome James didn't see anything. Can I hope to meet you?" The girl drew a deep breath. "And when?" "I'd love to see you today." "I can't today, I'm tearing down the wallpaper." James was surprised. "Really? You know I love to rip off wallpaper. Would you allow me to come over?" Allison, of course, allowed it.